Alright, everybody, welcome to another episode of Twat Talk. I'm your host, Roscoe M, and today I'm back with another episode. That's a really shite introduction, but what do you honestly expect from me? Anyway, so I'm here on this podcast just to kind of talk about, what's going on right now in terms of creative endeavours, what's happening basically. And then also I'll jump into some other stuff because since the last podcast I did, I've got a ton of notes in my phone of ideas that were either given to me or questions that were asked or ideas I came up with myself. Just for some simple little ideas of kind of what to talk about because I wasn't really sure what I could talk about, but I came up with a few. So So first off, I'm going to start with creative endeavours. What am I doing creatively? So I've been having a lot of issues with Premiere Pro recently, and hopefully this podcast can reach somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. But basically what's happening is if I put more than two files into the... Bloody hell, what's it called? Into the project. Like if I import more than two files, the timeline basically freezes and doesn't update with everything that's happening. My timeline essentially blanks out, and the only way to update it is to play the video. But of course that doesn't help when editing if I need to zoom in and out, and the only way I can do it is to zoom out. It's to drag my mouse as if to zoom out, then hit play, and then do it that way. It doesn't really work. So hopefully this can reach somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. Another part, so basically because of that, because I've been having that issue so often, I've had to actually go back to using Vegas as well to edit projects that are a bit bigger. So for example, things like this, like the podcast, that can go in two clips. Playthroughs, those can go in two clips, even though most of those are just Twitch streams that I've taken. But, essentially, I've had to switch back to my old editing software just because of all these technical problems, and it's been a massive pain in the ass, especially recently trying to get stuff done. But hey, I've figured out a way around it, at least for now. Hopefully, when I upgrade some of the parts of my PC, it might help it, and I might be able to actually do some editing in Premiere again. So that brings me on to other creative endeavours. I'm currently working on a review for Resident Evil 2, its remake. I'm working on that. Because I've been playing that a fair amount recently. Probably by the time this comes out, I'll be in the process of making it. I'll either be collecting footage or editing, because I've written the script in preparation for gathering all the footage. Because normally what I do is I gather the footage, then I write the script, and then I've only ever done like one proper review. So what I did for the last one, was gather the footage, wrote the review with the refreshed, because I did it shortly after getting the footage, and then I did the review. And I just did all blah blah blah. But what I did this time is I wrote the script in preparation for gathering the footage, and then I'll edit the script should anything come up in the footage that I want to mention. Because I remember basically everything about what I want to talk about for the most part. I just don't really know if all of it will stand up. I know at least the first half of my script will, but I don't know about the second part, the second half of it. I don't know how well that will stand, but we'll see as we go on. But yeah, I've been really enjoying that game recently. Just playing it casually rather than for videos or stream and all that stuff. It's been really fun. It's been a fun time to just, I don't know, to just play a game because I enjoy it rather than for content. I'm terribly sorry for the amount of yawning I'm doing. Jesus Christ. But it just feels good to play a game casually rather than just for content. So, I'm trying to kind of pick for one of these topics. Okay, here's a question that I got from someone. Quite an interesting question, I think. Would you consider yourself a passive, assertive, or an aggressive? Probably out of the three, I'd be considered passive. I don't particularly like confrontation. I'm not really a type of person to start a punch up or anything. I am generally the more passive type, and I'll just let things go with a little bit of maybe hinted aggression. Like passive aggressive comments. Terribly sorry, bloody hell. But I'm more like a passive aggressive comment or sarcastic arsehole type person rather than being straight up confrontational. Unless it's literally the only option. So I would personally consider myself passive. What's another one that I got? What's the worst and best impact procrastination has had in your life? Probably the worst is I've got an unreleased video right now. I don't know if it'll be out by the time this podcast is out. Maybe it will be, I don't know. But it was a Portal series review where I was going to get a bunch of different people on. It was going to be me, Nova, Casey, who I've had in the podcast, and someone who from Casey's chat and stuff called Brent. And we were all going to do parts of the script, and I gave it out to people, but a bunch of the parts didn't come back to me, and also that's when I started having technical problems with Premiere, and I just didn't really want to continue editing it, so I completely scrapped it entirely. I don't even have the script. The script wasn't even fully finished. All the footage was gathered and everything, but I just never finished the script to the editing. It was quite sad because I really did enjoy that. I enjoyed kind of going through the game and and replaying it again to gather all the footage, but in the end, I guess it was just never meant to be. So yeah, that's one of those videos I consider. That's one of the things I consider the worst impact. It's just not coming back around to things and getting things done. Because it ends up in videos that maybe could have been great for the channel being just completely scrapped, and yeah, it's a little bit sad. But yeah, it's just I guess it's just the shifting focus that I have, because I'm always changing what I'm doing and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess like I said, I guess it's just one of those things that just wasn't meant to happen. I guess maybe I'll revisit the idea in the future and redo it. Who knows? Aye. So what are the questions? Oh wait, I never even answered the best impact. The best impact it's had in my life. I can't really think of a good time that I've procrastinated on something that's in. Actually, no, I can. Right, I procrastinated once on an essay, for English class. I was doing higher, so fairly high level. I mean it's the second highest level you can do in high school here in Scotland. So I was doing that, and I procrastinated on this essay for so long. I am terribly sorry for my phone going off. Should have put it on silent. But what was I saying? Yeah, so essentially what happened was I procrastinated on it until literally the night before the essay was due. It was due in that morning. And I think I maybe stayed up until about 3 finishing this essay. Which ended up actually being the best essay I ever wrote. And it was an essay that I wrote on Bohemian Rhapsody and one of the possible interpretations of it. which is that it's Freddie Mercury. It's his like coming out song. Kind of telling the world like, hey, I'm gay, but doing it in like a subtle way through a song that nobody but him truly understood the meaning of. Because obviously, and we still don't have an official explanation for Bohemian Rhapsody because we never found out. Because Freddie Mercury was known for keeping himself to himself, and even to his closest people, never told him the meaning behind Bohemian Rhapsody. So, it's just kind of one of those secrets that we'll never know about. But it was a really interesting topic. I thought that it's a really interesting interpretation that it was Freddie's coming out song because it does make sense if you read into the lyrics and everything. It does make sense. At least in my head, it makes sense to me. So, yeah, I'd probably consider that one of the best impacts of Procrastination because that was a bloody good essay. And even my teacher said that it's like, it's one of the best essays that I wrote the entire time that I was in our class, which was like maybe 2-3 years, something like that. Was it really that long? Yeah, 3rd year to 5th year. About 3 years I was in that class, and it was the best one I ever wrote in 5th year. Bloody go me. Okay, next question that's here. Have you ever wanted to change anything about yourself? Oh, definitely. I've wanted to change tons of things. But the main one for me is weight. Weight's the kind of big one for me that I guess I've never really been happy with my weight because for those who don't know, I'm a little bit heavy, I guess. I'm not obese, and I wouldn't consider myself like overly out of shape, but I could definitely, lose a few. And I've always been very self-conscious of my body and never really able to wear tight clothes, like tight t-shirts, or I feel really weird going like shirtless even in like a beach and stuff like that. I'm just really self-conscious about it. So that's probably one of those things that I have wanted to change a lot over the years, is weight. Because it makes me feel really embarrassed to go anywhere like a pool, for example. Because, it's one of those things that you just kind of, I'm overweight. Not, like I said, not massively overweight, but still enough to the point where I feel that it's not good. And for me, losing weight is not an easy thing. I can't. I'm not one of these people that can just jump on a diet and that will solve my and do exercise and that will solve all my problems. I'm just not one of those people. So if anyone has any tips on losing weight, please do send them my way, like in the Discord or anything like that. Would mean a lot to me if people would be willing to help me out, because that is one of those things that I've been self-conscious about for literally years. I think I've been self-conscious about it since I was about maybe 9-ish. Maybe 9, 10. So nearly 10 years of my life, I've been worried about, or I've been conscious of my body and my weight and stuff. But yeah. Right. So here's something that I wanted to get into because I've never really gave my thoughts on this. But the Crash Bandicoot series, I've done first impression videos on those, and things like that. But I've never done reviews of them, any of the Crash Bandicoot games, and that's for a good reason. It's not because I hate them, by the way. I had to take a drink there. But it's not because I hate Crash Bandicoot. In fact, I love Crash Bandicoot. But gathering footage for it would be frustrating at best and pube-rippingly pube-rippingly infuriating at worst. Because Crash 1 on Insane, I can do. I can't 100% it, but I can get, I can do all the missions. I've also completed Crash 2 and 3 on Insane, but I've only ever beat those once, because I think they're a hell of a lot harder than Crash 1. And a lot of people say they get easier as they go on. No, I think they get more difficult as they go, because they introduce more mechanics, there's power-ups in Crash 3. Crash 2, some of those levels are bloody infuriating to do. And I swear that I could literally record them on a stage-by-stage basis, whereas Crash 1, I could record, a bunch of stages all in one to equal one stage of, Crash 2 or 3. But I'll give my thoughts in this podcast, because I'm never going to do a review on them. And also, I still haven't technically beat one of the games. But I'll start with the Insane Trilogy. Insane Trilogy is a game that I bloody love. It was my introduction to Crash Bandicoot. First time I ever played it. On the PS4. Oh god, I'm terribly sorry for the amount of yawning. I am absolutely shattered in the minute. And a lot of people would say you shouldn't record a podcast when you're tired. Well, I say screw you. So Crash 1 on Insane, I quite like. It gives me a good amount of challenge. It's not easy, but it's also not incredibly difficult. So it's at the right challenge level, I feel, for me. All the controls and everything, I've played the original Crash 1 at least a little, and the controls were certainly an improvement. Anything is better than Crash 1's initial controls. Whether you like the Insane controls or not, you can admit that it is better than Crash 1. Better than those controls. By far. So, then we get kind of Crash 2, which I found to be the most frustrating out of them, just because some of the levels are incredibly difficult, I feel, especially towards the late game. And of course, they should get more difficult as they go on, but I think they just, to be honest, I think some of the Crash 2 levels just rip the piss, and take it just that one step too far. And essentially it goes from a mild anger to basically fuck you. Or the level design goes from a little bit difficult to fuck you. You're not going to win unless you put all of your energy into doing this. And I remember I beat Crash 2 on a stream once, and it was 12 at night when I finally beat it, and I've been streaming for a good few, I think I was streaming maybe 2 or 3 hours just to beat Crash 2, and that wasn't even the full game. I did it in 2 parts, so it was maybe 2 or 3 hours on the last couple warp rooms, and oh my god, the frustration I felt and the relief I felt knowing that I would never have to go back to Crash 2 ever again. After that, I could go back, and I probably will go back, because fuck it, I like torturing myself sometimes. I like giving myself a difficult challenge. I don't know why, because I hate being frustrated with things, but at the same time, I always pick up the most frustrating games when I'm in that mood of, I don't want to be annoyed. I pick up a really frustrating game and go, nah, fuck it, that'll do. I don't know, maybe it's a form of venting for me. Fuck knows. So Crash 3 I really enjoy as well. I think Crash 3 has got great variety in level design with all the power-ups you can use. And it's certainly the most interesting and varied level-wise. One thing I will say, though, it was very strange when I beat the last boss, Cortex, in Crash 3, because Crash 1, I found it a little bit difficult the first time, but after a couple tries, and, at least one try at each phase, I kind of got the idea. Crash 2 was, honestly, that Cortex fight was piss easy. That one was far too simple. The main thing that fucked me up with it was the jetpack controls, but that's it. The actual boss fight was easy, because he doesn't fucking attack you. But Crash 3, I found the most difficult. because of the different phases and stuff, and you have to knock him into the pit, blah blah blah. But it was really weird because I couldn't beat him for ages. I tried it like maybe 10 times in a row. I went, fuck this, I'm gonna leave it for a bit. And then randomly, maybe a couple days ago, I went back, replayed it, fucking did it in one go. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Look, could I not have done this months ago and been done with it? But nope, fuck it. Apparently, I don't deserve that. But yeah, so that's kind of my rough review of Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. It's a great collection of games. Would definitely recommend it. Difficult platforming all round. At least fairly difficult. One thing I will say though, don't buy the PS4 version. Do not buy PS4. Buy, if you can, please get the PC, and if you have no other choice, get the PS4 version. But that should be your last choice. You should not go for a console version off the bat, because they're locked at 30 FPS, which is fucking annoying. Because, and especially on PS4 I've noticed this, there's a slight control delay in the jump, so it's not exact. It's not literally when you hit the button, there's like a fraction of a second delay that fucks you up so much. Because I can barely beat Crash 1 on Insane in the PS4. However, you bring it over to the PC and I can do it all. I'll die a shit ton, but I can do it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like I said, great collection of games. Buy the PC version if you can. If you can't, then the console version will kind of have to do. Next game I want to talk about. Talk about the modern Crash releases. CTR Nitro Fueled, Crash Team Racing. Crash Team Racing, fucking hell. I bought that game twice. I bought it twice because I loved it that much. I bought it on the Switch initially. I've got a Switch Lite, and I love taking it around, mate. It's my favourite kart racer. And then I decided, you know what? Maybe I could like stream this or something just for fun. So I got it on PS4. Plus, also I wanted a high quality version of it as well as the Switch version to kind of take it around with me. But oh my god, it's such a fun game because I already like kart racers. Like I loved Mario growing up. Mario Kart Wii was the first one I ever had. Do you guys remember Mario Kart Wii? Fuck, that game was amazing. I need to go back and play it sometime. I need to set up the Wii again just to play that fucking game. But I love Mario Kart Wii. I played Mario Kart DS. Didn't like it as much, but I did certainly play it on my DSi. Yeah, remember when that was a fucking thing? The DSi? God. Fucking kids these days. Growing up with you grow up with a 3DS. We didn't fucking have 3D. We grew up with the DSi. That bastard of a thing. With the really shit camera. Saying that, I think the DS always just has a really shit camera. Anyway, back to CTR. I love that game. It's fucking great because not only did they bring back adventure mode I have the original as well. So not only did they bring back adventure mode and redo all the classic tracks, they also got the Crash Nitro Kart tracks and redid those. They didn't put them in adventure mode, which I feel like is a bit of a lost thing there, that you can only really do them in AI races or against other people in multiplayer. But still really cool additions. Then you've got all the DLC that they added on afterwards. So you've got like all the really cool stuff, like Spyro being in there. A couple of the Spyro characters, a bunch of new tracks based on all manner of different characters from the games, from Crash and Spyro, to be fair. Yeah, it's just a great game, and I fucking love it. I love that game to death, honestly. And then the last game I kind of want to talk about with Crash Bandicoot. And it's really unfortunate that I feel the way I do about it. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. Okay. Fuck that game. Fuck that game. Right? Don't get me wrong. The characters are great. The variety level is amazing. The platforming, Like, the actual mechanics of it, great. The level design and the difficulty of the levels, go fuck yourself, Crash 4. Like, even as a casual player, not trying to go for 100%, I still haven't fucking beaten it. And I got it back in like December. I got it back in December and I still haven't fucking beat it. To be fair, I haven't played it in months, but at the same time, it shouldn't take me fucking months to beat a Crash Bandicoot game. And some of the platforming they ask you to do is just like far beyond what the Insane Trilogy ever asks, and I find that difficult enough. But fuck that game. And that's me playing not even retro, but modern, so I don't have lives, I always just go back to the checkpoint. And also, Cortex's stages can fuck right off. I hate Cortex's stages, because he has the worst movement out of all of the characters. Because he can't fucking double jump, which throughout the entirety of the game is essentially vital. Instead, he's got this shitty little dash thing that he does where he basically just fucking rockets forward, forehead straight into whatever cunt's standing in front of you, or whatever platform's there, just fucking straight in. But yeah, I don't particularly like Crash 4. In terms of its difficulty, it's way too fucking high, and that's without trying to go for 100%. Now, some people may disagree with me and just tell me to get good, but fuck you. Like, as a casual player, picking up a game, you should be able to beat it. I understand optional shit being difficult. Like, overly difficult, because you're only going to have the most dedicated of motherfuckers that will do it, and that will complete it and stick out until they beat it. However, for the casual fan, like myself, it's just fucking frustrating. And it just pisses us off to the point where we say, fuck your game, I'm never going to play it because there's no point, because I'm not going to beat it. And that's basically the stance I've taken on Crash 4. I'm not going to beat it. At least for now, I don't want to, because the stages I've played already were difficult enough. Fuck anything harder. I don't want to. Like, I don't want to try and beat that shit. Because already the levels that I've played were annoying enough. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Crash Bandicoot games. What else? I'm trying to think. I'm literally staring at these notes right now and trying to decide what ones to talk about. I guess I'll talk about this. Okay, so people who have followed this channel for a while will know that I used to be a avid Xbox user. Every single video I was recording, I played games on my Xbox. Even after I switched to PC, I still recorded some games on my Xbox. Do I play the Xbox anymore? Do I fuck? I do not play the Xbox One anymore. Apart from with my dad, because that's just our casual console up at his house. Do I play it seriously by myself? Fuck no. Because I personally feel that Xbox has gotten worse since the One. Like, okay, yeah, the One was okay when it first came out, but over the years it's gotten slower and slower, and it just pisses me off. Bear in mind, PS4 is part of the same generation, and that console is still fast as fuck. I don't even have a PS4 Pro. The normal PS4 that we have is still fast as fuck. Like, it still loads everything up like that. Xbox One, it literally can't even load my games folder anymore. I think it might be fucked. And it's really sad because I have tons of good memories on the Xbox 360 and a ton of good memories on the Xbox One that I've had over the years. It's just unfortunate that the competition is better. And I'm sorry to say that, but it is. The competition is just better. Plus the fact that for me, PlayStation's exclusives are way more interesting. You know, you have Shadow of the Colossus, you have God of War, you've got Final Fantasy VII Remake, you've got The Last of Us. The fuck does Xbox have? Halo? And that's it. That's the only exclusive I can think of. You know, maybe there's the odd game here and there, but the main big one, the mainstream game, is Halo. And in my opinion, Halo is shit. So, it has no appeal to me to really play the Xbox anymore because I don't like the exclusives. The console's just slow as fuck now. The interface is, compared to the PS4, the interface now looking back on it is kind of shit. So why the fuck would I ever go back and play it? And again, like I said, it's unfortunate because I have so many good memories tied to, the word Xbox. But now a lot of the good memories that I'm going to have will be tied to PC or PlayStation. Because that's basically what I've switched to. For all my main gaming endeavors, I will play it on PC because that's essentially my place. That's my choice. Plus, it allows me to record them. It allows me to stream them easily, and shit like that. Stream it with all my usual qualities that I have, like my face cam, blah blah blah. However, on PS4, I don't typically stream from there. I've streamed a couple times off of it, but it's not my preferred method because I don't have my alerts, I don't have my face cam, I don't have any of my stuff that appears on screen. I basically have none of I don't have my starting soon screen, I don't have my ending, I don't have any breaks, nothing. I basically just have nothing. And that's it. And yeah, that's why I don't stream from my PS4 that often, because it just isn't good for me that I can't customize a setup and see everything. Plus then I need to have my iPad next to me the whole time, and then it runs out of charge, so then I have to end stream because I won't be able to see chat and blah blah fucking blah. So basically what I'm saying is I am primarily a PC gamer, but essentially what I've done is over the years I've now switched over to the PS4 over Xbox. So now I'm technically part of that crowd. I prefer the PS4. Am I going to rush out and get a PS5? Probably not. Because I'm just not really that interested. Maybe I'll get one at some point because a game will come out that I'll want to play. But it does seem that for my future in gaming, it's PC or PlayStation. It's not going to be the Xbox. And I'm sorry, Xbox fans, it's just not for me. To me, the One's interface is shit. It's gotten slowed over the years. It's just not it anymore. I guess what you could say is I've seen a better quality, and now what I used to think was good is now shit in comparison. So yeah, that's that's my thoughts on that. I'll answer this question. What's your biggest inspiration? Not just for your channel, but also for how you live your life. Interesting question. I don't necessarily have an inspiration when it comes to how I live my life, because the way that I see it, that everyone's life is so different that you can never base how you live yours off of how someone else lives theirs. Because everyone's life and upbringing, everything it can be so drastically different. To the point where my upbringing is completely different to someone else's who's the same age as me, simply from either where we're from or, what kind of area we grew up in. Because I consider myself a fairly well-mannered, respectful person, but I've not exactly come from the nicest of areas. So that means that some of the people that live near me are kind of pricks. And they're not the best people. But that's just because of the difference in upbringing that we've had. The fact that I had parents who taught me right from wrong and stuff like that, and these people might have had really shit upbringings. They might have been abused. They might have had a dead parent, things like that. I know that cases like that do happen. But it's all down to kind of how you're raised. And then also other factors come in. Religion. I personally don't have one, but I know friends who have grown up with religion and are fairly dedicated to their faith, and that's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with it, but it just shows that difference in upbringing, that you can, not only it's how your parents raise you, but it could also be because of what religion you follow. It can be gender, it can be your race, because let's be honest, girls are brought up different from boys. And as much as we don't want to admit it, different races bring their children up differently. A white family will be a white kid will be brought up different to a black kid, regardless of area or anything like that. Whether they're both poor, whether one's rich and one's poor, or they're both rich, it doesn't fucking matter, because they will teach their kids about the culture that they have. Because every race has a different culture. So, for example, Asian parents will raise their kids on Asian culture, and kind of Asian customs and norms and things like that. Maybe not all of the time, but at least in-house they might do that. They might bring them up, with all of the kind of customs that come with living in an Asian country. But they live in a Western country where the differences can be quite clear and things like that. This is just my opinion on how these things are done. Obviously, I don't have first-hand experience of how everyone was raised. But I do know that there are so many different factors that come into it that I cannot base how I live my life off of how someone else lives theirs. So I don't necessarily have an inspiration in terms of a person. I more just have my own set of rules and customs that I go by. And I'm obviously, I'll probably give one of them here, because I have a couple things that how I live my life. But one of them that it can either be really helpful or really detrimental is that I live my life on the basis of, if you care about me, then I'll probably care about you if we're both, if we're friends, for example. But the second that you stop giving a shit about how I feel about things, then my brain essentially just goes, fuck your feelings. Because you don't care about mine, so why the fuck should I care about yours? That kind of way. So, for example, if I have a friend who does something behind my back, lies to me about it, and then I find out, fuck you, essentially. And I will say whatever the fuck to them, because they clearly didn't care enough about my feelings when they did whatever the fuck they did. So why should I hold back when I'm berating them or, shouting at if we're in an argument? Why should I hold back whatever the fuck I'm saying? That kind of way. And again, it's either been really helpful or it's been incredibly detrimental. It's not a perfect system. But of course, no system is. There is no perfect system, and there's no one perfect way to live your life. All you need to do is make the best out of what you have. Make the best out of your life the way that you live it. I think the world today is very much obsessed with how others live their life, which causes some people to, in my opinion, not have a fucking life, which is honestly sad. The fact that some people are so obsessed with what someone else does that they don't live themselves. And it's an unfortunate part of reality that, for example, shows like fucking Big Brother, shows like Love Island, why the fuck do we watch this garbage shite? Because essentially the way that we're viewing it is, I can't go and do this shit, so let me live vicariously through someone else to make me feel as if I'm doing this shit. Who gives a flying fuck? Plus the fact that most of these people that go on these shows are thick as pig shit. Like, most of the people that go on Big Brother or Love Island are fucking idiots. Like, do I even have to bring up the fact that in an episode of Love Island, someone genuinely asked, does Brexit mean we're not going to have any trees? That shows the level of intelligence that you're working on with a show like fucking Love Island. And people will eat that shit up because it allows them to live through someone else, which I find fucking pathetic. If I'm being completely honest, I find that pathetic as fuck, that you have to live through someone else in order to feel a sense of satisfaction. I find that fucking sad. But again, that's just my opinion on some topic that probably nobody gives a flying fuck about. But hey, that was part of the question. But in terms of my channel, I do have an inspiration. I have a couple. One of them, with shit like this and my kind of personality and my sense of humour coming through videos, is a man called Sergeant Ducky. Holy fuck. One of the funniest bastards that I have ever seen on YouTube. Great Irish YouTuber. Very, very funny. Very blunt. And also a slightly darker sense of humour, which of course is right up my street. So I love him. In terms of my editing, Soviet Womble. I've mentioned this in videos before. Soviet Womble is my main inspiration when it comes to editing, because holy fuck, the amount of detail that he puts into every single frame of the videos on his channel is just the type of content that I aspire to make. So he's probably my inspiration when it comes to editing. But yeah, you guys have probably heard enough from me. I'll answer one last simple question, and then I'll end off this podcast. So, what's a song you can't forget about that constantly plays in the back of your mind? That changes on a daily basis. That can change daily. But one song that has consistently stayed in my mind as of late is The Wellerman, which is the sea shanty that got popular on TikTok due to Nathan Evans, the Scottish postie, postman for those who don't understand slang. But the Scottish postie, holy shit, that song has been stuck in my head for a good few months now. Because it's just so fucking catchy and the rhythm's so simple that you can't help but hum it because anyone can do it. And because it's a sea shanty, it's completely open to interpretation. You can put instruments to it, you can literally just hit a table, and as long as you're on beat with that, it's, anything basically goes. So that's probably a song that I would say has played the back of my mind for a while. But in terms of just songs in general, it changes on the daily. Because, it's one of these things that your brain is incredibly good at just thinking of random bullshit. And just thinking of anything in the moment. Your brain's incredibly good at it. It's one of those things that we've developed as humans, is this ability to think of so many millions of things every minute. And probably, a few thousand, a couple 100,000 things every second. There's a constant stream of thoughts going through your mind and all that kind of shit. But, so yeah, and I'm always hearing different music from any era. And any one of them, even a line, can get stuck in my head, and that's it. It's there. It's planted for at least a couple of days before it fucks off because I've heard another one. But yeah, like I said, for one that's been in my head for a while, The Wellerman. That's certainly one that's been there for a good bit. But yeah, I'm sure you guys have heard enough of me talking shite. God, I got through quite a lot of my notes actually. So yeah, I might need more podcast ideas. Fire some if you join the Discord. There's an entire channel for it. So I'll end this one here. So I'd like to thank everyone for watching on YouTube, and if you're on Spotify, thank you for listening. It's very much appreciated. So if you're on YouTube, remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you're on Spotify, remember to follow the podcast. It would mean a shit ton if you would follow, and plus it lets me know that you're enjoying what I'm making. But I've been Roscoe M, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.